Focus on what you can control, for the domain of human agency is narrow yet profound. The mind often wanders into territories it cannot govern: other people's opinions, the shifting tides of circumstance, the unpredictability of fortune. These externalities clamor for attention, demanding emotional investment, yet they remain indifferent to our desires. To attach worth or anxiety to them is to surrender sovereignty. The Stoic perspective teaches that true power resides not in shaping the world, but in shaping our response to it. Events occur, judgments follow. Between occurrence and judgment lies a space of freedom. In that space, wisdom either flourishes or withers. To focus on what you can control is to inhabit that space with intention, recognizing that your thoughts, actions, and values are the instruments of agency. Everything beyond that falls outside your jurisdiction. Release attachment to externals, not in apathy but in clarity. The world is replete with variables: economic shifts, social dynamics, natural forces, the actions of others that no individual can command. Attachment to these variables breeds suffering because it binds emotional well-being to outcomes beyond reach. When the outcome contradicts expectation, disappointment follows. When it aligns, the temporary satisfaction fades and dependence on external validation remains. Stoic discipline invites detachment from such cycles. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means understanding the limits of control. You may strive, act, and contribute, but you cannot guarantee results. The effort itself becomes the measure of virtue, not the external reward. By releasing attachment, you reclaim emotional stability. The mind ceases to oscillate with every change in circumstance and instead cultivates equilibrium. Consider the nature of desire and aversion. Desire pulls the mind toward imagined futures, constructing scenarios of fulfillment that may never materialize. Aversion pushes it away from present discomfort, seeking escape rather than engagement. Both reactions tether consciousness to external conditions. The Stoic approach redirects attention inward. Instead of yearning for what lies outside control, one evaluates what lies within: intentions, choices, and character. Desire becomes aligned with virtue, desiring to act well, to learn, to contribute, rather than with uncontrollable outcomes. Aversion transforms into prudent judgment, avoiding actions that compromise integrity rather than fleeing discomfort. This reorientation empowers the individual to live deliberately. The world will always present challenges. Human existence is marked by uncertainty, change, and imperfection. No philosophy can erase hardship, but philosophy can transform perception. A storm may rage, yet the ship's captain navigates with skill. Waves may rise, but the vessel remains steady. Similarly, life's difficulties need not dictate inner turmoil. When external circumstances shift, the Stoic responds with composure. This composure arises from understanding that suffering often originates not from events themselves, but from interpretations of events. A setback is not inherently catastrophic. It becomes catastrophic when framed as such. By questioning judgments, one dismantles unnecessary distress. Agency resides in action. While outcomes remain uncertain, actions reflect values. To focus on what you can control is to act with purpose. You can choose honesty, kindness, diligence, and courage. These choices define character. External success or failure does not diminish the worth of virtuous action. The Stoic recognizes that moral integrity is independent of external recognition. A person may toil in obscurity, yet live nobly. Another may achieve fame, yet act without principle. The distinction lies in internal commitment to virtue. When actions align with values, peace follows. Emotions are not enemies. They are signals. Yet unexamined emotions can mislead. Anxiety about future possibilities often exaggerates threats. Anger at others' actions may obscure understanding. Sadness over past events can anchor the mind. In regret, Stoic practice encourages observation of emotions without immediate reaction. By creating mental space, one evaluates whether emotional responses correspond to reality. Many worries dissolve when examined closely. The imagined catastrophe proves unlikely. The perceived insult loses significance. The past cannot be changed, but lessons can be learned. Emotional awareness becomes a tool for growth. Life's unpredictability demands resilience. External conditions will fluctuate. Health may waver, relationships may change, opportunities may arise or vanish. Resilience stems from adaptability. Instead of resisting change, one learns to navigate it. The Stoic does not demand stability from the world. He cultivates stability within. This internal stability allows engagement with life's uncertainties without being overwhelmed. Challenges become opportunities for development. Difficult moments test character and reveal strengths previously unrecognized. The concept of control also involves humility. No individual possesses omnipotence. Recognizing limitations fosters realistic expectations. Humility does not diminish capability. It grounds ambition in reality. One strives to influence what is possible while accepting what is not. This balance prevents frustration. Effort remains meaningful even when outcomes differ from hopes. The journey itself becomes valuable. Social pressures often distort focus. Society rewards external markers of success, wealth, status, approval. Yet these markers fluctuate and depend on collective opinion. Stoic wisdom prioritizes inner excellence. Wealth may disappear, reputation may shift, public opinion may change, character endures. By valuing internal growth over external validation, one achieves a more stable sense of worth. The opinions of others become data, not determinants of self-esteem. Constructive feedback informs improvement. Baseless criticism is disregarded. The practice of focusing on control requires discipline. The mind naturally gravitates toward external concerns. Reorienting attention demands repetition and mindfulness. Each time worry arises about uncontrollable matters, one redirects thought toward actionable steps. What can be done now? How can one respond with integrity? What lessons can be drawn? Over time, this habit strengthens mental resilience. The mind learns to prioritize agency over anxiety. Understanding the distinction between influence and control is crucial. Influence acknowledges that while outcomes cannot be guaranteed, contributions matter. Actions may inspire change, even if results are indirect. A kind gesture may uplift another. A thoughtful decision may set an example. Influence operates within the sphere of possibility. Control operates within the self. Both have value, but confusion between them breeds frustration. The Stoic focuses on actions within control, while embracing the potential ripple effects of influence. Peace arises from alignment with reality. Reality includes uncertainty. To deny uncertainty is to resist truth. Acceptance does not imply passivity. It enables clear action. When the mind accepts what cannot be changed, energy redirects toward what can. Solutions emerge. Creativity flourishes. The individual engages with life rather than battling it. This engagement fosters growth. Focusing on control is ultimately an act of liberation. It frees the mind from futile preoccupations. It shifts attention to meaningful endeavors. It cultivates virtue and resilience. External circumstances lose the power to dictate emotional states. Challenges become manageable. Life retains complexity, yet the individual navigates complexity with wisdom. Agency becomes the foundation of purpose. Respond with virtue, not reaction, to circumstances, for the human instinct is often to answer stimulus with immediacy rather than reflection. When events unfold, whether favorable or challenging, the first impulse may be emotional. Anger rises when expectations are violated. Anxiety appears when uncertainty looms. Pride surfaces when success arrives. These reactions are natural, yet natural does not equate to optimal. The Stoic perspective encourages a pause, a deliberate interval between event and response, where judgment can be examined and aligned with principle. Virtue becomes the compass, guiding action even when emotions surge. Virtue in this context is not an abstract ideal, but a practical orientation. It encompasses qualities such as honesty, courage, temperance, and wisdom. Honesty ensures that actions correspond with truth rather than convenience. Courage enables engagement with difficulty instead of avoidance. Temperance moderates extremes, fostering balance. Wisdom integrates understanding, allowing choices that reflect long-term good rather than short-term gratification. When circumstances provoke reaction, virtue asks a simple question: what response best reflects these qualities? The answer may require restraint, patience, or empathy, choices that transcend immediate emotional impulse. Reaction often seeks to defend the ego. When criticized, the mind may retaliate to preserve self-image. When offended, it may strike back to reassert dominance. Such reactions can escalate conflict and obscure understanding. Virtue, by contrast, prioritizes resolution and growth. A critique becomes an opportunity to evaluate behavior. If the feedback is valid, improvement follows. If it is unfounded, emotional investment is unnecessary. The focus shifts from defending pride to discerning truth. This discernment strengthens character and fosters constructive engagement. Circumstances themselves are neutral. Events occur without inherent moral weight. A storm is neither good nor bad. It is weather. A challenge is neither punishment nor injustice. It is an aspect of existence. Meaning arises from interpretation. Reaction assigns value, labeling events as catastrophic or beneficial. Virtue encourages a measured interpretation. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, they become lessons. Instead of perceiving obstacles as insurmountable, they become opportunities for ingenuity. This reframing empowers action. The individual responds with purpose rather than despair. Human relationships illustrate the importance of virtuous response. Interactions with others often involve misunderstanding or disagreement. Reaction may escalate tension. A harsh word answered with another harsh word deepens conflict. Virtue advocates for composure. Listening becomes the first step. Understanding the perspective of another does not require agreement, but it fosters empathy. Empathy bridges divides. It transforms opposition into dialogue. Through dialogue, solutions emerge. Relationships strengthen when responses prioritize respect and understanding. Emotions are valuable signals, yet they are not infallible guides. Anger may signal perceived injustice, but acting on anger without reflection can lead to regrettable consequences. Sadness may indicate loss, but dwelling on sorrow can impede healing. Joy may inspire celebration, but unchecked exuberance can cloud judgment. Virtue acknowledges emotions without surrendering to them. The Stoic practice involves observing emotional states, recognizing their presence, and deciding how to act. This observation creates space for rational decision-making. Actions align with values rather than impulses. The concept of virtue extends beyond individual conduct. It influences societal interactions. Communities thrive when members act with integrity and compassion. Honesty builds trust. Generosity fosters cooperation. Responsibility encourages accountability. When individuals respond to circumstances with virtue, the collective benefit increases. social harmony becomes possible. Conversely, reaction driven by hostility or self-interest can erode communal bonds. The choice to act virtuously contributes to a broader culture of mutual respect and progress. Virtue also demands consistency. It is insufficient to act well only in favorable situations. True character reveals itself in difficulty. When resources are scarce, generosity still matters. When criticism arises, humility remains valuable. When success arrives, gratitude prevents arrogance. Consistency reinforces integrity. Actions become reflections of principle rather than convenience. This alignment between belief and behavior cultivates inner peace. The individual knows that choices reflect values, regardless of external outcomes. The distinction between reaction and virtue involves awareness. Reaction occurs automatically, driven by instinct. Virtue requires conscious choice. Awareness of this distinction enables transformation. When a stimulus arises, the mind can recognize the impulse to react. Instead of yielding, it pauses. Reflection follows. What response aligns with principle? What action serves understanding or growth? This process may feel slower than immediate reaction, but its outcomes are often more constructive. Decisions made with reflection carry greater intentionality. Challenges test this practice. In moments of intense emotion, pausing may seem difficult. The urge to respond immediately can be powerful. Yet difficulty does not invalidate the effort. Practice strengthens capacity. Over time, the habit of reflective response becomes natural. The mind learns to prioritize virtue. Emotional intensity diminishes its control. Choices become deliberate. This evolution represents growth. Virtue response also acknowledges human imperfection. Mistakes occur. No individual consistently acts with flawless judgment. The Stoic approach does not demand perfection, but encourages continuous improvement. When errors arise, accountability follows. Learning replaces self-reproach. The goal is progress, not unattainable idealism. Each choice becomes an opportunity to refine understanding and behavior. Life's unpredictability underscores the value of virtue. External conditions fluctuate. Success may fade. Relationships may change. Circumstances may challenge comfort. Virtue remains within control. It provides stability amid uncertainty. While outcomes cannot be guaranteed, the quality of response is always possible. This focus on agency empowers resilience. The individual navigates change with dignity and purpose. Virtue transforms perspective. Instead of viewing circumstances as forces to be resisted, they become contexts for action. A difficult situation invites courage. A misunderstanding invites patience. A setback invites creativity. The emphasis shifts from complaint to contribution. What can be done within the present reality? How can actions reflect values? These questions guide response. They foster engagement rather than resignation. The rewards of virtuous response are internal. External validation may vary, but inner satisfaction arises from alignment with principle. Knowing that choices reflect integrity brings peace. This peace does not depend on external approval or success. It stems from self-awareness and moral consistency. The individual becomes accountable to personal values. This accountability strengthens character. Virtue also enhances perspective. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming become manageable when approached with composure. Emotional clarity enables problem solving. Solutions emerge. Progress follows. The individual recognizes that circumstances are temporary, but character endures. This recognition reduces anxiety. The mind focuses on actionable steps rather than uncontrollable outcomes. The practice of responding with virtue is a lifelong journey. It requires patience and dedication. Growth occurs gradually. Each choice contributes to development. Successes reinforce confidence. Failures provide lessons. Over time, the habit of virtuous response becomes ingrained. It shapes identity. The individual becomes defined not by external circumstances but by the quality of action. Virtue is ultimately a form of freedom. Reaction binds the mind to external events. It surrenders control to emotion and circumstance. Virtue liberates the mind. It asserts agency. Choices reflect values rather than impulses. This freedom enables meaningful engagement with life. The individual acts with purpose. Contribution replaces passivity. Growth replaces stagnation. Responding with virtue transforms experience. Circumstances remain varied, some joyful, others challenging, but the approach remains consistent. Reflection precedes action. Principle guides decision-making. Emotional awareness informs, but does not dictate response. This discipline cultivates resilience. It fosters understanding. It enhances the capacity to navigate complexity. Virtue is not merely an ideal but a practical method of living. It shapes interactions, decisions, and perspectives. It encourages responsibility and empathy. It aligns action with values. Through virtue, the individual contributes positively to self and society. Life's challenges become opportunities for growth. The journey becomes meaningful. Acceptance of reality is strength, not resignation, for the world exists as it is rather than as the imagination demands. Reality does not negotiate. It unfolds with impartial consistency. Events occur, consequences follow, circumstances shift. To accept this truth is to embrace clarity. Acceptance does not mean surrendering ambition or abandoning effort. It means acknowledging the parameters within which action is possible. A river flows regardless of preference. One may resist its current and exhaust oneself, or one may learn to navigate its movement, guiding a vessel toward meaningful destination. Acceptance functions in similar fashion. It recognizes the terrain before attempting to traverse it. Strength emerges from understanding. The individual who accepts reality sees conditions without distortion. Challenges are identified rather than denied. Limitations are acknowledged rather than ignored. Opportunities are recognized within constraints. This clarity enables effective action. When the mind rejects reality, it constructs illusions, expectations that conflict with what exists. Disappointment follows when those illusions collapse. Acceptance prevents such suffering by aligning perception with truth. The truth may be difficult, yet difficulty does not diminish its value. Understanding the nature of circumstances empowers. Response: resignation differs fundamentally from acceptance. Resignation implies passivity, a withdrawal from effort and engagement. It suggests that circumstances are immutable and that action is futile. Acceptance, by contrast, involves engagement with reality. It recognizes what cannot be changed while focusing energy on what can. The difference lies in agency. Resignation relinquishes agency. Acceptance utilizes it. One surrenders to circumstances. The other navigates them. Strength resides in navigation. The individual who accepts reality remains active, making choices within the bounds of possibility. These choices reflect purpose and intention. Human emotions often resist acceptance. When confronted with undesirable situations, the mind may respond with denial or frustration. Denial attempts to rewrite reality, insisting that circumstances should be different. Frustration reacts against what exists, generating emotional turmoil. Neither response alters the facts. The Stoic perspective encourages emotional awareness without capitulation. Emotions are acknowledged as natural responses, but they do not dictate judgment. The individual observes emotional states, recognizes their presence, and returns focus to practical action. Acceptance becomes a stabilizing force. Life is inherently unpredictable. Health may fluctuate, relationships may evolve, opportunities may arise or disappear. No individual possesses complete control over external conditions. This unpredictability can generate anxiety when the mind seeks certainty. Acceptance alleviates anxiety by embracing uncertainty as a component of existence. Certainty is rare. Adaptability is essential. The individual who accepts reality adapts to change. Adaptation reflects strength. It demonstrates resilience and resourcefulness. Challenges become contexts for growth rather than sources of despair. The concept of acceptance also involves humility. Humility acknowledges human limitations. Number. Person can master every circumstance or foresee every outcome. Errors occur. Plans may fail. Expectations may remain unmet. Humility does not diminish capability. It grounds ambition in realism. The individual strives to improve while recognizing that perfection is unattainable. This recognition fosters patience and perseverance. Progress becomes the measure of success rather than absolute achievement. Acceptance fosters peace of mind. When the mind aligns with reality, internal conflict diminishes. The energy once devoted to resisting circumstances becomes available for constructive action. Solutions emerge. Creativity flourishes. The individual engages with life rather than battling it. Peace does not arise from ideal conditions, but from understanding. Even in difficult situations, the mind can remain composed. Composure enables thoughtful decision-making. Thoughtful decisions yield better outcomes. The practice of acceptance requires discipline. The mind naturally gravitates toward preference and aversion. It desires what is pleasant and rejects what is painful. While these tendencies are understandable, they can obscure judgment. Acceptance disciplines the mind to observe circumstances without immediate evaluation. Observation precedes interpretation. The individual gathers information before forming conclusions. This process reduces impulsive reactions. Decisions become deliberate. Acceptance also enhances compassion. Understanding reality includes recognizing the complexities of human behavior. People act based on their experiences, beliefs, and emotions. Actions that appear harmful may stem from misunderstanding or pain. Compassion does not excuse wrongdoing, but it encourages empathy. Empathy facilitates dialogue and resolution. Relationships improve when understanding replaces judgment. Acceptance of human imperfection creates space for growth and reconciliation. The strength of acceptance lies in its practicality. It does not demand passive endurance of suffering. Rather, it directs attention toward meaningful action. If a situation can be improved, action is warranted. If it cannot, emotional energy is conserved for other endeavors. This distinction prevents waste of effort. Time and resources are finite. Acceptance ensures they are directed toward productive purposes. Historical examples illustrate the value of acceptance. Individuals and societies have faced adversity throughout history: conflict, natural disasters, economic hardship. Those who adapted and persevered often emerged stronger. Adaptation required recognition of reality. Solutions were devised within constraints. Progress followed. The lesson is timeless. Acceptance enables resilience. The Stoic tradition emphasizes alignment with nature. Nature, in this context, represents the order of existence. Events occur according to principles beyond individual control. Acceptance of this order does not imply passivity. It encourages harmony with reality. Actions align with what is possible and ethical. The individual contributes positively within the framework of circumstances. This alignment fosters purpose. Acceptance also reduces the burden of expectation. Expectations shape emotional responses. When outcomes align with expectation, satisfaction arises. When they do not, disappointment follows. By tempering expectations with realism, emotional volatility decreases. Satisfaction becomes rooted in effort and integrity rather than external results. The individual values the quality of action. Effort reflects character. The journey toward acceptance is ongoing. It requires continual reflection and practice. Moments of resistance will occur. The mind may revert to denial or frustration. These moments are opportunities for growth. Awareness of resistance allows redirection. The individual returns focus to reality and constructive action. Over time, acceptance becomes habitual. The mind learns to approach circumstances with clarity. Acceptance transforms perspective. Challenges are no longer viewed solely as obstacles. They become opportunities for learning and development. Difficult experiences reveal strengths and areas for improvement. Growth arises from engagement with adversity. The individual becomes more capable and resilient. Life's complexities are navigated with confidence. Strength and acceptance also involves gratitude. Gratitude recognizes value in what exists. Even amid difficulty, aspects of life warrant appreciation. Relationships, knowledge, and opportunities contribute meaning. Gratitude does not ignore challenges. It balances perspective. The individual acknowledges both hardship and positive elements. This balance enhances emotional well-being. Acceptance ultimately reflects wisdom. Wisdom understands the limits of control and the nature of existence. It distinguishes between what can be changed and what must be acknowledged. This understanding guides action. Effort is directed toward meaningful goals. Energy is conserved for endeavors within reach. Wisdom fosters a life of purpose and authenticity. Inner discipline creates freedom from worry and disturbance because the mind, when governed by principles rather than impulses, becomes a sanctuary of stability. Worry arises when thoughts scatter toward possibilities beyond control, imagining outcomes that may never occur and assigning emotional weight to scenarios that exist only in speculation. Disturbance follows when external events challenge expectations, shaking confidence and generating unrest. Inner discipline counters these tendencies by cultivating awareness and intentionality. It teaches the mind to observe thoughts without surrendering to them, to acknowledge emotions without being ruled by them, and to focus attention on actions within reach. This discipline transforms the internal landscape. Instead of being a battlefield of conflicting impulses, the mind becomes a well-ordered space where clarity prevails. Freedom born of discipline is not the absence of challenge, but the capacity to respond with composure. Life inevitably presents difficulties. Uncertainty, change, and imperfection are constants of human existence. Without discipline, these challenges provoke reactive behavior. The individual may lash out in frustration, retreat in avoidance, or succumb to anxiety. Such reactions amplify suffering because they divert energy toward emotional turbulence rather than constructive action. Discipline interrupts this cycle. It introduces a pause between stimulus and response, a moment in which judgment can be exercised. In that moment, the individual chooses how to act. The choice reflects values rather than impulse. Action becomes deliberate. Disturbance diminishes. Inner discipline also fosters self-awareness. The mind often operates on automatic patterns, habitual thoughts, and emotional responses shaped by past experiences. These patterns may serve certain purposes, but they can also limit growth. Worry, for example, may feel protective, as though anticipating problems reduces their impact. In reality, Excessive worry drains mental energy and obscures possibilities. Discipline encourages examination of these patterns. The individual asks, is this thought helpful? Does it align with reality? Does it contribute to understanding or merely generate anxiety? Such questions illuminate the nature of mental processes. Awareness becomes the first step toward transformation. Freedom from disturbance arises when the mind learns to distinguish between what it can control and what it cannot. External events fall outside the sphere of direct control. The actions of others, the outcomes of situations, and the unpredictability of circumstances cannot be guaranteed. Inner discipline focuses attention on what remains within agency thoughts, decisions, and behavior. By concentrating on these elements, the individual regains a sense of power. Worry about externalities loses its grip. Energy is redirected toward meaningful endeavors. The mind becomes a tool for problem solving rather than a source of perpetual concern. Discipline also cultivates emotional resilience. Emotions are natural responses to experience. Joy, sadness, anger, and fear all have roles in human life. The challenge lies in preventing emotions from dictating behavior. Inner discipline allows emotions to be acknowledged without immediate reaction. The individual observes emotional states, recognizes their origins, and chooses how to respond. This process does not suppress emotion. It integrates it with reason. Emotional awareness informs understanding, while discipline guides action. The result is balanced behavior that reflects both sensitivity and judgment. The benefits of discipline extend beyond the individual. Relationships improve when responses are measured and thoughtful. Conflict often escalates when reactions are impulsive. A harsh word met with another harsh word deepens misunderstanding. Discipline encourages listening and reflection. Instead of reacting defensively, the individual seeks to understand perspectives. Dialogue replaces confrontation. Relationships become opportunities for growth and connection. The freedom from disturbance that discipline provides enhances interactions with others. Inner discipline requires practice. It is not an innate quality, but a skill developed over time. The mind, like a muscle, strengthens through consistent effort. Small actions contribute to progress. Choosing to pause before responding in difficult situations builds the habit of reflection. Redirecting attention from worry to constructive tasks reinforces focus. Observing thoughts without judgment cultivates awareness. Each practice contributes to greater mental stability. Over time, discipline becomes natural. The individual navigates life's challenges with increasing confidence. The rewards of discipline are profound. Freedom from worry allows the mind to engage fully with the present moment. Opportunities become visible that might otherwise be obscured by anxiety. Creativity flourishes when mental space is available for exploration. Problem solving improves when energy is directed toward solutions. Inner peace emerges from alignment between values and actions. The individual experiences a sense of purpose and coherence. Life retains complexity, but it no longer feels overwhelming. Discipline also enhances moral integrity. Choices reflect principles rather than convenience. The individual acts with honesty, kindness, and responsibility. These qualities contribute to personal growth and social well-being. Integrity fosters trust and respect. It strengthens relationships and communities. Inner discipline becomes a foundation for ethical living. The freedom it creates is not merely psychological but moral. The individual lives in accordance with values. The journey of discipline is ongoing. Moments of difficulty will arise. The mind may revert to old patterns of worry or reaction. These moments are opportunities for renewal. Awareness allows redirection. The individual returns focus to principles and actions within control. Progress may be gradual, but it is meaningful. Each step reinforces the capacity for freedom. Discipline transforms challenges into catalysts for growth. Ultimately, inner discipline creates a life of greater meaning and tranquility. Freedom from worry and disturbance does not imply the absence of challenges. It signifies the ability to engage with challenges constructively. The individual approaches life with clarity and purpose. External circumstances no longer dictate emotional states. Inner stability becomes the foundation of experience. This stability enables growth, understanding, and contribution. The path of discipline is rewarding because it aligns the mind with reality. Acceptance of what cannot be changed and action within what can be changed create harmony. Worry diminishes. Disturbance fades. The individual experiences the freedom to live intentionally. Inner discipline becomes a source of strength and peace. It transforms the relationship with self and the world. This transformation is available to anyone willing to practice. Discipline does not require perfection. It requires effort and persistence. Each choice to act with intention strengthens the habit of freedom. Over time, the benefits become evident. The mind becomes clearer. Emotions become manageable. Life becomes more fulfilling. Inner discipline reveals the possibility of living with purpose and resilience. It is the key to freedom from worry and disturbance, and it opens the door to a life of understanding and peace.